What is up, my positive people? Back at you with another personal finance video. I love talking about numbers. I like talking about how to get ahead in life. And by the way, this is just a positive message. This is how we can all improve our lives and the lives of our family as well. So today's video, we're going to talk about building the gap. And what do I mean by gap? Gap is the difference between your income and your expenses. So right here, this is what we want. This is what all of us should strive for, because even though we live in the richest country in the world, most of us, like 3/4 of the country, live paycheck to paycheck. So if they got fired from their job, they have no cash reserves. They're screwed. They have all these expenses and their expenses match their income. So if they lose the income, how are you going to pay for all this, right? And so the whole point is, let's build this gap. And I'm going to dive deep into this so we can really grasp the concept, so we can really learn this stuff and really do what most people don't do, which is get ahead financially so we can have freedom and breathe a little bit. Because we all know how that feels to not have anything in your account and you got bills coming up and you're like, oh my God, when I get paid, hopefully I'll be able to have a little bit of extra so I can do this and do that. And it's like, that's not a good feeling to have. But most of us have also been on the other side where you have some money in the bank and you're like, no matter what's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months, I'm good. Even if I get fired from my job, it's fine. That's a good feeling to have, and I've had that, and I'm working on getting that back. I did screw myself up when I was in my early 20s, so I am trying to fix that, and this is something I'm working on as well. I'm not rich, I'm not famous, I'm not any of that stuff. This is just basic personal finance that I'm interested in and that I think can offer some value to you, and if you find this valuable, share it with somebody. But anyways, there's 3 ways we can increase this gap here, build the gap. Number 1, this is the easiest way to do it. Number 1, decrease your expenses, and that's obvious. We'll get into it. Number 2, increase your income. And this is what I'm really striving to do, is both. At the same time, decrease my expenses and increase my income at the same time, and that gap just grows and grows and grows. And just to further illustrate that, obviously, if you're making $3,000 a month and your expenses are $3,000 a month, big deal. Like, there's nothing to show for it. I mean, you might have all these expenses like cars and houses and all these nice luxuries, but you can't really build anything further than that. So just to further illustrate even further, I just wanted to make this, because I'm a visual learner, so I know a lot of people that watch YouTube are visual learners as well. But let's just say your income is $3,000 and then your expenses are $3,000. Obviously there's no gap. But let's say you increase your income to $5,000 and you decrease your expenses to $2,500. Now the gap went from 0 and we jumped up to $2,500 is the gap that you have extra at the end of the month. And let's say you go even further, $8,000 of income and your expenses decrease to $2,000, right? And this is tough to do. I mean, look, it's just numbers on a board. It's very hard to cut your expenses, especially if you're used to a lifestyle that you've been maintaining for a while, or you have a family or something like that. I know it's hard. These are goals. This isn't required, obviously. This is goals. So, but look at the big difference. You go from 0, you increase your income $2,500 extra a month, discretionary income, and then look at that, $6,000 a month, and you just made a little bit more money, and then you save. Like, you can see the benefits here. So let's talk about how we can make this happen. And first, I want to start with the easiest thing first, which is we can decrease our expenses. This is no matter about your income. Let's say, you know, you're at a level, you made it to the spot where you want to be at your job, or you're in the field that you want to be, and you don't really feel like doing anything else. Start with just decreasing your expenses. This is the easiest way to do it, and it doesn't take that much time. You can do it pretty quickly. And obviously, you don't have to do all this. This is just recommendations based off of me. First is subscriptions. A lot of us had, like, I know at one point I had like 10 to 12 different subscriptions, and 3 or 4 of them I didn't even know I had them, right? Until I was starting to look at my bank account, and I'm like, why is this $4 coming out, $8, $12, $10, $15, $20? I'm like, when you add all that up, so if you just have a couple, Netflix, Hulu, whatever, that's fine, because you're not trying to eradicate your life completely. You definitely want to still enjoy life. So don't get rid of every one of them, just cut back. I know on average, most people I talk to have at least 5 to 6, 7, 10 sometimes subscriptions. So if you can just eliminate a few of those, then that's how you can decrease your expenses. And then obviously another common one is stop going out to eat as much. Make that something that's special, because the more you do it, it's not even that cool. You're just like, let's pick somewhere to go. Who cares? Let's just go to Olive Garden or Chili's, or let's go to Longhorn or whatever. Not only will you be saving money if you cook at the house, you're gonna enjoy more privacy, more family time if you have a family, or you can invite somebody over, have friends over. It's cheaper. And whenever you do decide to go out and eat, it's special. It's an event. It's something that makes you feel good. It's like, hey, let's get out of the house. Let's celebrate something. And you're saving money at the same time. You can't beat that. And then number 3, obviously there's tons of expenses we can cut out. The expense of cars. You can live somewhere cheaper, on a cheaper side of town. That might not be the nicest, but this is long-term goals here. We're thinking in the future, how can we get ahead? So number 3, I wrote down pay down credit cards. This is obvious. And just a bonus here, if you only use 10% of your allowable credit, that looks good on your credit report as well. So anything over 10%, I think anything over 30% that doesn't look good on your credit report. But pretty much anything 30% and below is really good on your credit report, because that affects your credit score. It's called utilization. But if you get 10% and below, that looks really good on your credit and can help your credit at the same time, as well as save you money, because your minimum payment will be a lot lower. So work on those. And now that we covered a little bit about how to reduce your expenses, obviously we could have went way further. Now let's talk about what everybody likes to talk about, is increasing your income, getting the cash coming in. And when I was brainstorming this, I was thinking, you could start off with maybe just finding a better job. Like maybe you're just working, like right now I work at Amazon, and okay, it's cool because the minimum wage is $15 an hour, which some people think that's good. To me, that sucks. It's still not good, but that's my opinion, and not to get too carried away on that. But if you're stuck, if you've always worked entry-level jobs, maybe it's time to sit down and reflect and ask yourself, what do I need to do to level up, right? And sometimes that means acquire skills. And this is highly overlooked, but go into a trade school, become an apprentice. You can become a plumber, work in HVAC, if you like working on air conditionings and stuff like that, heating, ventilation, or become an electrician. I know a bunch of people that are in these fields that make really good money. You'd be surprised. A lot of people these days don't really acknowledge the upside to trade school, but when you graduate or your apprenticeship and you become a foreman, or I'm not really sure the terminology, you're making good money. And then obviously you can move up and up and up and up. So don't overlook trade school. If you like building things, if you like being hands-on, if you like to always learn and challenge yourself and work hard physically, this is a great option for you. You can also look at the digital industry. Think about coding, programming, building websites, editing videos, software. You'd be a software engineer. Like obviously that's super valuable, and that's going to pay a lot more than entry-level jobs. Because if you're at entry level and you're expecting to make more money, why would they pay you more money when they can just hire somebody else that's younger that will accept that pay? So you just got to level up and build some skills. And number 3, sales. Get into sales. I've had multiple sales jobs where I was making decent money. I didn't really like the product or the business that I was working for, but that doesn't mean that you can't make good money in sales. And specifically, real estate's really big right now. The market's doing really well. That doesn't mean it's always going to do really well, so just be cognizant of that. But like selling cars, I know people that are very successful selling cars, and I know that's a demanding industry, but sales is a way to make a lot of money. And I also said literally anything, because think about it, if you're a business owner, they're worried about the top line revenue, which is income, people buying the product, and they're looking for people that can market and sell their product, right? So they're willing to pay those people more than people sitting in the office doing accounting, right? And the clerical work. They would pay the salespeople a commission and negotiate a contract to say, If you bring $100,000 in, we'll pay you $65,000. That's just how sales works. So if you learn sales and you learn psychology and how to negotiate and all that, that is a very valuable skill. And every company is looking for great salespeople because every company wants to grow. So that's definitely a good skill. But also, if let's say you're in a career, you like your career, and you don't want to change it, you see yourself doing this forever, that's fine. And you're very blessed and lucky to be in that position. So I would recommend getting a side hustle. Like for me, I flip stuff. I just started recently flipping on eBay, and I thought about making videos about this, but you can flip stuff. I mean, you don't have to do eBay. You can do Craigslist, you can flip cars, you can flip anything. Think about it. Anything out there. Just because you think it's trash doesn't mean everybody does, right? Your junk car, you can buy junk cars off Craigslist and negotiate like super, super low and then turn around and sell that to somebody that will take and fix it, right? You can flip houses, cars, you can flip Xboxes, you can flip laptops. I'm just looking around in my house right now. You can flip everything. You can go to Walmart and go to the clearance aisle and buy stuff that's discounted and then resell it on OfferUp or eBay or Craigslist or something. Like I had books sitting around, right? I had books in my house sitting around. I've had a box of books for years. And a lot of them were given to me or I got them somehow. And one day I was like, hey, what if I just list these on eBay? I listed a couple of them. Some of them sold for $5, $7. One of them sold for $25. Another one sold for $18. Another one sold for $12. So you see what I'm saying? You can just buy books. You can go to Salvation Army. You can go to Goodwill, find books, look them up and see what they sold for and just list them. Like that's it. I got books from Salvation Army for $1 and then I listed them on eBay and sold them for $15. So not a big deal. Like flip things. Just look around in your house. Look around like when you're driving around. People having yard sales, junk cars. Just call and ask. Say, hey, how much you want for it? And then go to Google and type in "we buy junk cars" and then call that company. Hey, how much would you pay for this? And then you buy that car for $200. And then that company said, hey, we'll pay $700. You say, all right, come pick it up from this address and tell the people, hey, I got my friends coming over to come pick up this car. You just made $500, right? I haven't done that, but that sounds like something I might try actually. Anyways, that's how we build the gap, guys. The whole purpose of this is for people that just want to get ahead. Because like I said, 3/4 of America, which is the richest country in the world, are living paycheck to paycheck. And doing things such as, cutting out junk expenses and just doing a side hustle or learning a new skill, that's how simple. It's not easy, it's simple. The concept's simple, okay? Increase income, decrease expenses, and look at the gap. You got to keep that, right? Like that's simple. It's not easy to execute though, right? It's very hard. If you're changing careers, you have to learn a new skill. That takes time. It's very hard. Even side hustles, they sound cool. Selling on eBay sounds great. There's fees. You got to learn what sells, what doesn't sell. You're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to buy stuff that doesn't sell. Like this isn't as easy as it looks, right? And you should know that. We're all adults. We know everything's not easy. But that's the whole point is you're going to pick two different hards, right? There's two paths. Path one is I'm going to be like every American, live paycheck to paycheck, never even pay attention to how to increase my income or decrease my expenses, and I'm going to live paycheck to paycheck forever. I'm not going to have retirement. I'm not going to have any investments, right? That's path one. The second hard path is, okay, I'm going to take a couple years. I'm going to learn a side hustle. I'm going to learn a new industry. I'm going to cut back on all these bull crap things that I do. Which hard do you want, right? Do you want to build a gap, an income and expense gap of $8,000? What if you're doing that? What if after all your expenses every month, you had $8,000 to just sit around and to play with? Like, think about it. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? And it may take time to get there. You might start with a gap of $50. That's $50, especially if you're starting at zero. Or $100. In 6 months, it's going to be $300, $500, $1,000, $2,000. Like use your imagination here and to build a better life because it really just starts with the basics. So that's why I wanted to do this video. Hopefully this makes sense. Send this to somebody that needs to hear this or would appreciate this message. Thanks guys. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. All right guys, I totally forgot the very last part of the message. And I realized after I recorded the video I had like a red spot on my face. That's really weird, but I didn't even notice that. But when it goes back to side hustles, I talked about flipping stuff, obviously flipping cars and all that. but you can get a part-time job. Like I wrote on the board, I even wrote it on the board and didn't say it, but you can deliver pizzas on Fridays and Saturdays or whatever, and do that for a couple hours a night, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and then be an Uber driver. I did that for a while, and actually Uber saved my life a couple times. I lost a job and I started Ubering, and I had to Uber my ass off to pay my bills, but it saved me. But it can be a good side hustle if you consider all the expenses and the wear and tear on your vehicle. It could be all right. But also starting a little side business or something. And when you consider starting a business, you have to determine if you're going to offer an actual physical product or is it going to be a service. Those are only 2 options you have for starting a business. So if you want to create something, buy a bunch of supplies and make something, obviously you can create a product and make your own branding and all this stuff, or a service. Maybe you can wash cars, maybe you're a photographer, maybe you know what I'm saying, like you can cut grass, stuff like that. Like that's a service that you offer, and you could do this in your off hours or on the weekends. So anyways, that's the part I missed on the video. Thanks guys.